Hello, Juliana. Good morning. Well, Juliana, bring us up to speed with what is expected today on the Brexit talks as Prime Minister Boris Johnson visits Scotland. And of course, he is expected to announce additional funding for Scottish farmers.
Well, Britain is undeniably in a political crisis. It's so bad that yesterday Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, actually said on camera that he'd rather be dead in a ditch than go back to the EU and ask for an extension on Brexit. Of course, he's trying to push through the fact that the UK should be going to the polls for a general election on October the 15th. He is in Scotland today. This is his second visit to Scotland since becoming Prime Minister only a few weeks ago. And really, that's almost, some people would say, as a campaign and trying to push the sentiment. Ian Blackson, he is the Scottish National Party leader. He sits in the House of Commons. And just this morning, he's agreed with the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, that they will not back a deal to agree that there should be an early general election. Of course, last week they lost Ruth Davidson. Ruth Davidson is a Scottish Tory who is formidable in trying to stop Scotland leaving the United Kingdom Union. And that's exactly what the SNPs and Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister of Scotland, want to do. And of course, Scotland are Remainers. So there's lots of political play at hand. But really, Boris Johnson is there to try and win back support because he doesn't have that now that Ruth Davidson has left today. We're expecting the House of Lords to come back and agree that there should be an extension of that no deal Brexit. And if that does go through and Boris Johnson doesn't get the general election he wants, then some people are saying that he will resign.
Well, in the midst of all of this, what are the market numbers saying this morning? The pounds, the equities.
Well, this morning, the FTSE opened almost as flat as a pancake. I just checked it before we're on air and it's up by 2 points. Of course, this political sentiment is really affecting just how the traders' anxiety is at the moment. And of course, the FTSE is typically down when the sterling is high. And this week, it's been on a 5-week high against the US dollar, trading right now at about $1.23. You can see just how a couple of days in Parliament works, because at the beginning of the week, the pound was trading at about $1.20. Of course, there's that US non-farmer data today. And if, as people predict, that it will come back very good, then the US dollar will strengthen and the pound will be low.
And in another news, British Airways has rejected a last-date proposal from Pilots Union to restart negotiations aimed at averting the strike action. So does this mean the strike will still go on as planned Monday and Tuesday?
Well, they still are in talks. British Airways just said today that they are likely to go back into further talks with BALPA, but they're extremely unhappy. They've made that absolutely clear. Of course, British Airways, as well as other airlines, are really embattled at the moment because the pilots are literally striking back. Next week, Monday and Tuesday, this strike by these BA pilots is looking to affect about 16,000 flights, affecting up to 300,000 passengers, costing BA about £40 million a day. And therein lies the problems. That 11.5% pay rise that British Airways have offered their pilots over 3 years, BA pilots are saying it's just not enough. BA have said that it will cost them to give them the extra money that they want, £50 million over 3 years. And the pilots are saying, if you're not prepared to pay £50 million, why would you be prepared to pay £40 million a day? So the battle between the two of them continues. It is likely they will get a deal. Of course, through the summer, it was absolutely horrendous. We all saw those long queues in Heathrow and in Gatwick, but there is still time. But, I would say to any customer that flies on British Airways, you better check before you get to the airport, because it's looking likely to be a disastrous week for them next week.
That's not too good. Anyway, as the week wraps up, what would be on investors' radar next week?
Well, in the UK and the traders, of course, it's only Brexit. There are a couple of lawsuits that are coming to an end this week because there are several individuals that tried to take Boris Johnson and the government to court over the proroguing of Parliament. On Monday, the Commons leader, Jacob Rees-Mogg, said that there will be another motion to try and get that snap general election forward. If it fails, then next week, potentially, Boris Johnson could go down in history as the shortest serving prime minister in British history ever, because he will resign, because as he says, he will not ask the EU for an extension on Brexit. So more Brexit news, I'm afraid, Chimaze.
Thank you, Juliana. I'll see you later in the day for more updates.